Now, question for you. What would happen if you went to Japan, determined to experience as many different tastes as possible within just 2 weeks?
That just sounds like an ordinary 2 weeks for me. Just eat as much as you can. Food writer, Food writer Dani Valent has done just that. She joins us now to report back on some weird and wonderful creations out of the land of the rising sun. Dani, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, it was 12 days on the ground and I think at least 50 meals. So I certainly did my best to experience as much as I could.
The amazing thing about Japan is, of course, that extraordinary variety within their own traditional culture and then all the rest as well.
Yes.
And a lot of that is unchanging, but it is extraordinarily good food, from the street stalls to what you can get in the basement of a department store to what you can get at the kind of, traditional Kyoto restaurant that it's very, very hard to get into.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it's not impossible to find bad food in Japan, but it's very easy to find great food, especially when you're looking for it, as I was.
Yeah.
I just love the specificity of it all. So you could go to a restaurant that would just serve okonomiyaki, so the Japanese pancakes, and they serve their town's version of it. So I tried okonomiyaki in a couple of different places. This is in Hiroshima. So in Hiroshima, their okonomiyaki have noodles in them, so you can choose soba or udon. They make them in front of you and they give you a little knife come scoop come spoon that you finish off your pancake, cut it with, and then shovel it into your mouth. So I enjoyed doing that.
Do they put sauce on them? Because most of the time you order those in Australian food halls, you'll get them smothered in all sorts of sweet sauces.
Yeah, so at that restaurant they put the sauce on it. I went to another one where you could condiment up yourself to your own taste. So I preferred that because it's great to, taste all the different layers.
They're often better raw, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was fantastic. And as you say, there's also those high-end experiences where you have, incredible kaiseki cuisine, so these multi-course extravaganzas, and just so beautifully presented, like every dish in its own perfect little ceramic container, and then a tray for all those ceramics, and just the level of detail is extraordinary.
I think we've got some images of those as well that hopefully we can bring up. That's one of the great experiences if you can manage to get in. You sometimes have to get a Japanese speaker to smuggle you in under false pretences, otherwise they simply won't serve, gaijin in them.
Yes, so I did have a few introductions, which was helpful.
Yeah.
That tempura little fish that you saw there, so just poised on its fins. How do they fry it so it actually stands on its own fins? This is a very sweet cafe in Kyoto, like on the way to the Philosopher's Path. And it's this Japanese style of decorating called zaka, where it's just using found objects from nature. And, if I tried to do it, it would look like I'd strewn my house with rubbish and had brought some leaves in on my shoes. But there it just looks absolutely beautiful and perfect.
Now, you came across no shortage of strange stuff too, sometimes from vending machines.
Oh, a lot of people talk about their experiences with vending machines in Japan, and certainly you can buy. I didn't actually see underwear in vending machines, which I've heard is possible.
That's one of the famous, famous things. We shouldn't talk about it perhaps in too much detail, but yeah, you can.
I only saw edible and drinkable things.
Underpants.
Cans of coffee are massive, so hot or cold coffee and premium Boss. So the coffee all had very strong names, but very sweet with condensed milk. So it wasn't exactly, the Australian latte that I have to say I do prefer, and was glad to come home to.
And you've got all the cold drinks there that you can get. Those vending machines are everywhere and they function. You never ever find a broken down or empty vending machine, food vending machine in Japan. Anywhere. It is remarkable.
No excuse to be thirsty or hungry at any moment.
Did you sample the on-train food as well?
Yeah, I did. So, I mean, I love the way that the attendant comes into the carriage and bows to everyone in the carriage before they wheel their trolley through. And then as they leave, they turn around and bow. So it just the politeness was extraordinary. It's crowded in places, but I didn't see one elbow bumping into anyone's ribs. It was just absolutely perfect. But another thing that I loved with the trains is this the practice of bringing gifts. So every town has got its own little mochi or sweets, and I brought you some from the Osaka region. So I just finished cherry blossom. Well, I hadn't. Cherry blossoms were just on the way out.
You were there for Hanami. Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
So I just the tail end. So I caught some cherry blossoms, but there were leaves around them.
Look at this. If we can put it up there. I think you might be able to get a decent look there of these small. I think they're red bean cakes. These ones, are they? Yeah. So
with a sort of rice dough encasing them, and so wherever you go in Japan, you bring a gift.
I'll hold it for you.
Bring a traditional gift of that region. So I love that regionality. So please, I loved these.
He always waits for his close-up before he
Of course. Guy's got to get his close-up.
Trained professional.
I love, in the temples around Kyoto, I loved how you would go into them, and the quieter ones, we went to the hills where the temples were very quiet. It was often the only ones there, gazing out at a beautiful Zen garden, everything perfectly raked, the koi, perfectly choreographed in the ponds, and you enjoying that Michael.
It's a bit stringy, isn't it?
They're chewy, aren't they? But I became slightly addicted to them. The person would come up and bow before you, turn the tea in exactly the right way, and then give you a little sweet. So just absolutely charming.
And then the tea is always specific to that place and to that region. It's one of the world's great experiences travelling around that country, sampling that stuff. What was your highlight? What was your absolute culinary highlight, do you think, Dani?
Look, I mean, I've eaten sushi in Australia, and we do have some really good sushi restaurants. But went to one, yes, but there is a but. I went to an amazing place in Tokyo. Recommendation from a chef here who's been there. Oh,
this is a kaiten.
Well, this is the other end of it. So the high-end sushi was amazing. This is a sushi train. So I'm not massive on the sushi trains that we have here, but I mean, this sort of high-speed express where the food zooms up to you, or is like going past in all directions.
Kids love it. Kids absolutely adore it.
But that's the incredible thing about Japanese food, is that the sushi train, which is the most basic sushi you can get in Tokyo in particular and in Japan in general, is better than most sushi that you'll get in Australia.
Well, it's freshly made. I mean, yes, you order it with a touch screen and it zooms along without, on robot arms, but there was a human who made it, to order, so I did appreciate that.
But you're about to say your highlight experience was the sushi that you ate.
Oh, look, it was an amazing experience, and I guess, I learnt so much. We were lucky to come upon an English-speaking Japanese chef, and, some of the fish was so fresh, the mussels were still twitching, but he also talked to us about ageing fish and how sometimes, briefly marinated or cured and then set aside for a few days, and, you have different textures with that, by doing those techniques.
And there's the unchanging nature of Japanese food, and it really is impervious to a great deal of Western or indeed outside influence. Did you pick up any sort of alteration to the cuisine or a more modern outlook?
Definitely. So I went to a modern kaiseki restaurant in Tokyo, Jimbocho Den, which was just very fun. So we'll do a traditional sort of Japanese stuffed fried chicken, but put it in like a KFC box.
Right.
So just fun sort of plays on tradition, always with that obsession with produce. Tonkatsu. So tonkatsu, fried pork cutlet. You cannot.
Yum.
Those crumbs. I mean, like all you can hear is the shattering of the crumbs as you eat them.
Best possible thing to eat. And can I just recommend, if you're ever in Japan and as you fly out and you go to Narita Airport, you can get the best tonkatsu at Narita Airport, and that's the best way to fly out.
Okay, well, I flew from Haneda, so I know I'm going back. So next time
load up on the tonkatsu, all of that fabulous, gorgeous black sauce on top.
Yep.
And
it's too
starving.
Good. Yes.
Nice to see you, Dani. Thanks so much.
Aren't you going to have one of the fruit snacks? It'd be very rude if you didn't, actually. Just speaking of politeness. We'll wait for 30 seconds.
I'm going to be rude this morning and say no on that one, because you're going to be picking that out of your teeth for hours.
No, it's good. It's good stuff, and I'm going to bow as I leave.
And to you too. Domo arigatou gozaimashita.
See you later.